response to the COVID-19 outbreak, focusing on protecting the safety, health, and well-being of our community. The decision has been made to suspend church worship services for the next 2 weeks, starting today, March 15th, and also the 22nd, and then reassessing before March 29th to see if we want to go third Sunday.
Good morning. We'll start our service this morning with a call to worship. There's a time for everything in creation, a time for light and a time for darkness, a time for sound and a time for silence, a time for reflection and a time for action, a time for others and a time for oneself. But all these times are God's time. All and now is the time to be aware. Our scripture reading this morning is taken from John chapter 4, verses 13 and 14. Jesus said to her, "Everyone who drinks of this water will be thirsty again. But those who drink of the water that I give them will never be thirsty. The water that I will give you will become in them a spring of water gushing to eternal life." The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God.
The scripture passage today was taken from John chapter 4 and has the entire story of Jesus meeting the woman at the well in Samaria. And maybe this scripture is a timely passage for us to consider in thinking about the whole pandemic that we're going through with the coronavirus. In my years as a pastor, I've struggled with decisions about not holding worship during snow or ice storms, but this is the first time I have had to announce that we are suspending services for 2 weeks due to health risks. It's important not to put our people at risk regardless of what the issue is. The people come first. These decisions do not come easily, but ultimately after a lot of prayer, consulting with the church council, some of my colleagues, the doctors in our congregation, and information in the medical world in general, we chose to take precautions. We haven't closed the church building, but we will not gather in a larger group to worship for the next 2 weeks. Instead, we will probably try virtual worship, which, as you can probably see, we are doing. Maybe God is pushing us on to new ways of doing things. Jesus was always pushing the boundaries. He saw a woman at the well in Samaria, and he engaged her in conversation. This was unprecedented. First, he spoke with a woman in public, something that was not acceptable in his culture. Second, he was in Samaria, a territory that was usually avoided by the Jerusalem Jews because of the conflict between the two groups. Third, she was at the well in the middle of the day, the hottest part of the day, apparently to avoid the other woman who would have been at the well earlier. We discover in the conversation between Jesus and this woman that most likely she was seen as a woman with questionable morals because she had previously had 5 husbands, and the one she was with at that point was not her husband. Meeting Jesus at the well changed her life. She suddenly encountered someone who honored her, placed value on her life, and offered her salvation, the living water, the water only Jesus could give. As we move through this pandemic, may we realize that we may panic and feel afraid, but ultimately we have choices. Take care of ourselves by following all the suggestions the medical world offers. Pray, read scripture, keep in touch either by phone, email, or Skype, or FaceTime, or sending cards, and limiting our TV watching. Do something to take care of ourselves, and take a break from the incessant negative news. Most of all, know that God is with each one of us and cares about us, honoring who we are and offering us living water, the living water of life. Oh yes, drink plenty of water and get some rest. God bless.
As we consider the lessons of the woman of Samaria, let us gather together virtually from our homes, our offices, from our handhelds, and offer this prayer. God of us all, you know that there are times when we wonder where to turn and how to manage what life has handed us. Help us to remember the Samaritan woman at the well, who discovered that Jesus helped to refill her cup with the water of salvation. He restored her hope, and he filled her heart with joy. May we hold on to that promise for ourselves, for our family, for our friends, and for our church. Thank you for your guidance and love. Amen.
Media coverage and decisions like this can seem intimidating and scary. The most important thing for you to know is that you are not alone. Not only is God with you, but we as a church are here, only a phone call away if there is something you need. Our phone number is 603-436-6038. And now as we go through these next days and weeks, may you hold on to the fact that the living water of Christ is with you, carrying you, loving you, honoring you,